Good afternoon. Today we're going to do 6.2, Express Math, simplifying expressions using distributive properties. That being said, and that it's Express Math, let's try to do tonight's video in less than 10 minutes. Let's see if we can do it. Let's get started. The fastest math in the Wild West. Dominic and Sarah are checking each other's math homework. Sarah tells Dominic that she has a quick and easy way to multiply a one-digit number by any other number in her head. Dominic decides to test Sarah by asking her to multiply 7 by 230. Calculate the product 7 by 230. So go ahead and do that now. Alright, so you should have answered this. Sarah is able to correctly multiply 7 by 230 in her head. She explains her method to Dominic. First, break 230 into the sum of 230. Then multiply 7 by 2 and get a product of 1400, and then 7 times 30 to get a product of 210. Finally, add the two together, 1400 and 210, to get a total of 1610. So I'm hoping that everybody got 1610. Look down to number 2. Try to solve this problem using an expression. So what you want to do in step 2 is actually write your own expression that represents what Sarah did. Try that now and press play when you're ready. Alright, as you can see here, Sarah did 2 steps. First she did her hundreds, and then she did her tens. So what that looks like is right here. So you should have something very similar to this. She broke it down into hundreds and tens, and there was no ones because there was a 0 because it was 230, so she didn't have to worry about the ones place. Alright, please read below and identify with Dominic, and then press play when you're ready after you compare the different models. Alright, so now number 3 is going to relate to the model that you just read about. So first use Dominic's method and sketch a model for each. Then write an expression that shows Sarah's method and calculate. Alright, so what they're asking us to do is both ways. So this first way that I'm showing in this picture here is Dominic's way. So he did 9 times 40 is 360. He did his tens, and then he did his singles because it's 9 times 48. 8 times 9 is 72, and then he added them. If we wanted to represent it Sarah's method, we would do just the 9 by the 40, and then the 8 by the 9. So there's 8 nines, or you could also have done 8 nines and 49s, like that. So those are 2 options there, and then the answer you should get is 432. So go ahead and try this on B and C on your own. Do that now. Alright, and you should have gotten the following 438 and 1,840. Check those. Alright, at the bottom of the page we have a little reading to do because we have a new definition that we want to identify. So it says Sarah and Dominic's methods are both examples of the distributive property of multiplication over addition. So we're used to of multiplication but not maybe over addition. So this states that if A and B and C are any real numbers, then A times B plus C minus A times B plus A times C. So including this distributive property of multiplication over addition, there are a total of 4 different forms of distributive property. Another distributive property is the distributive property of multiplication over subtraction. So on this one it's over subtraction, this one's over addition. And that's why you see these 2 addition symbols here. So the same thing down here, but where there's addition up here, there'll be subtraction down here. So I got a subtraction here and a subtraction here, and then the rest follows. So for if any A, B, and C are any real numbers, then A times the product of B minus C equals, and I think I said minus up here, I meant equals. The equal sign is just small. Sorry about that, guys. Equals A times B minus A times C. So it's you distribute the A to the B and the A to the C. Alright, so that's our new property that we want to know, is both over addition and over subtraction. Alright, let's move on. We're now on page 306. So on 306, The same properties work for division. So we were just talking about multiplication. So now we're talking about division over subtraction. So the addition signs are here for the addition one, and the subtraction signs are here for the subtraction one, and then C, as long as C is not equal to 0, and A, B, and C are all real numbers, because if it was 0, then it would be undefined. Then the distributive property of division over addition or subtraction will work. So take a minute to kind of take in both of those formulas. All right, so it says draw a model for each expression and then simplify. So if we want to do a model like Dominic did, I would have a 6 there. I could have an X here and a 9 here. And then 6 times X is 6X. And then 6 times 9, 54. So I'm going to have 6x plus 54. Go ahead and try B, C, and D on your own. And press play when you're ready. All right, go ahead and look at B, C, and D and kind of verify your answers. A couple important things here are there is a -5 here, so -5 times 7 is a -35, so I wrote minus 35. So it's plus a negative or just minus a 35. Same thing down here. Make sure your negatives line up. And this, all they did here was they put the X on top and kind of simplified the version. So now let's go ahead and look at number 5. Use one of the properties, the distributive properties, to rewrite each expression in an equivalent form. So now we have distributive property of multiplication and division over addition and subtraction. So we've got 4 different ones we're looking at there. So this tells me I have 3 times y and then times 4y plus 2y. So you could kind of do the same chart here, or there's some different options. So let me show you what we could do for A and B, and then you can try the rest for homework tonight. So I could do 3y times 4y. Well, 3, and this is where you have to be really careful. You have to do both parts. So 3 times 4, number times number, is 12. And then y times y is not 2y, but it's y squared, because we want y times y. So you always have to do number times number and variable times variable. Now I have 3y times 2, so 2 times 3 is 6, and there's no variable with this 2, so it's just 6. Y times 1, an imaginary 1 is just y. So you would have 12y squared plus 6y. And then over here, 12 times x is 12x. 12 times 3 is 36. So I want you to go ahead and finish 5 now and press play when you're ready. All right, we can check that problem with our neighbors tomorrow. I don't want to put the answers up quite yet. I want to make sure you're practicing and not just copying. But I know you're awesome, so you wouldn't be doing that. All right, let's turn the page, and now we're on problem 2. Simplify each expression and show your work. So let me try 1A here with you, and I just need a little bit smaller pen, I think, or I'm going to run out of space. Perfect. All right, so I always want to look parentheses, parentheses, what's going on, and now I'm going to distribute. So I have -6 times 3x. So there's no variable with this -6. So -6 times 3 is a -18, and then -6 is times 1. 1 times x is just an x. So we're good there. Now I have a -6 times a -4y, and always remember our rules. Negative times a negative equals a positive. A positive times a positive equals a positive, and then it's going to be negative when it's a negative times a positive. So I have negative times negative, so that's going to be positive. So -6 times -4 is going to be a positive 24, and then 1 times y is just y. So I could rewrite this as -18x plus 24y. A different variation, which would mean the same thing, would be 24y minus 18x. I would be comfortable with both of those being the answer. So I want you to finish for homework tonight B, C, D, and E, and come with those tomorrow, please and thank you. Right, on the next page here, we're just plugging in kind of how we did last night for homework. So wherever there's an x, you would plug in. My suggestion would be to distribute first. So 2 times -3 is going to be -6. X times x is x squared, and then 2x times 7 is 14x. And now that you have all of that, put negative 1 2/3, so this will be times negative 1 2/3, and this will be negative 1 2/3 times negative 1 2/3, and then multiply that by a -6. And I want you to try all these on your own, the A, B, and C, and then come tomorrow and we can kind of go over these and double check each other's answers and practice what multiplying the mixed numbers looks like. And we are done at 10 minutes and 30 seconds. Thank you for your time and have a good evening, and we will see you tomorrow.